Well, North Dakota has decided to pass a law that pretty much defines an embryo as a person, thus making abortion illegal. I guess this is such a issue that it's so controversial and so, you know, I can understand why people want to defend life and all this and pretend that it's going to be, oh, it's everything. Hang on. All right, we're there. Okay, I just had to make sure that we were actually running, but here's the thing. My apologies. I got kind of a little distracted there, but here's the thing. All right. When it comes to abortion, there are no easy answers. There are none. You're going to say, oh, you should never have an abortion. Well, what happens if your daughter gets brutally raped? And let's say, God forbid, she's gang raped by 4 or 5 guys. You don't know who the father is. And she's absolutely, completely devastated. And she's beside herself. She's threatening to take her life if you force her to have this baby and all this. And what really is sad, ladies and gentlemen, is that you actually have people in this country who want to force a young woman to have a baby. Now, if this woman has this child to term, God bless her. I consider her a hero for doing this, for going through this and all this, but it shouldn't be her choice. It shouldn't be her. It shouldn't be put upon her that she has to have this baby born out of such a horrific incident. If she can bear that burden, emotional burden, then yes, I'm all for it. But here's the reason why I'm pro-choice. If you outlaw abortion, do you really think you're going to stop abortion? Do you? Of course not. What's going to happen is, when I don't think they'll ever really. So I don't think the Supreme Court will ever overturn Roe v. Wade completely. They're going to nip at it. They're going to take it to where basically abortion is very difficult to get. But it is still obtainable. However, with this North Dakota law, I have a feeling that this is the touchstone. This is going to be the issue that the Supreme Court has to make it a stand on. They have never really, in this particular court, and in recent years of the court, they've never really pulled that trigger to overturn Roe v. Wade. They've had chances, but they've never really done it. And I don't think they ever will. And when you look at the way the court is situated, Barack Obama is going to have 2 appointments sometime in the near future, perhaps even more than that. Scalia's getting old. Thomas could very well decide to step aside because he's taking a ton of flack for his inaction during sessions and basically not even asking any questions, basically sitting there like a bump on a log, basically. But do you really think that ever, if they outlawed abortion, do you think they'd ever really stop it? Of course not. It's ridiculously easy to do an abortion. Go online and check on it. Do the research. You can do it yourself, really, if with a little bit of If you have any kind of medical training whatsoever, the only danger you risk is infection. And with sanitation, a proper sanitizing of the equipment, you could do it. I mean, a woman's not going to do it to herself necessarily, or she shouldn't, but there's going to be underground abortion clinics if they're not already. It's coming. Just sitting proudly and saying, oh, we did so much to stop abortion in this country. You didn't stop anything. You didn't. You just let it go underground. You didn't stop it. And here's my prediction. If they outlaw abortion, if they finally pull the trigger on Roe v. Wade and overturn abortion, and by the way, let me stress, if they overturn abortion in Roe v. Wade, it will not actually be illegal. It'll just allow the states to outlaw it. And not every state's going to outlaw it. The only way they would outlaw it is if the federal government made it illegal. And I don't think that would happen. None of this addresses the reasons as to why abortions happen in the first place. Have you ever noticed that the pro-life movement never really tries to understand why a woman has an abortion to begin with? You ever notice that? They never take the time to actually understand why a woman's having an abortion. They just act like, well, it's clearly evil and she should be stopped. Show pictures of these aborted fetuses, yell, scream, say she's going to hell and all this, instead of actually, taking the time to actually talk to this woman. Most women who have abortions are scared out of their minds because they're told that this is an unwanted baby, or they're forced to think this is an unwanted baby, that they can't have this baby, their lives would be ruined. They're either pressured in it by peer pressure, by friends, by family, by boyfriends, by husbands. The vast majority of women who have an abortion aren't doing it for birth control or anything like that. The fact is, a lot of them are just flat out scared. They don't realize they don't have to have the abortion. They don't have to have it. They can have that baby. They just need to know what's available to help them have this baby. But the thing is, the very same party that preaches pro-life is saying, well, you get pregnant, you have this kid, it's your responsibility. Fine. But help the woman who has this baby, and the father, hopefully they're still around, but generally they're probably not going to be. Help this woman with the resources. And it could just be a simple matter of child care, parenting education classes, WIC, job training, stuff like that. Simple stuff that just an information. Information could save so many these babies' lives of simply going, hey, you're not alone in this. But unfortunately, the pro-life movement basically, for the most part, not all of them, there are some who actually do crisis counseling, crisis pregnancy centers. But a lot of times the thing is, the woman shouldn't have to worry about hearing about God's word and all this. Which, my granddad had a great saying. The best way to bring people to Christ is the soft sell, not the hard sell. A lot of the right hard sells Christianity. But what brings people in his view, was you soft sell them. You walk the walk, not talk the talk. You lead by example. You show them what a Christian is supposed to be. Not just talk about it. Be about it. And a lot of people who claim to be Christians are actually falling very, very short of the image of Christ. And I'm not talking about just little close to it. I'm talking about light years away from it. But I digress. This is an issue that you're not going to change a whole lot of people's minds upon. I'm realistic to know that. I'm smart enough to know that the chances are you're probably not going to change anybody's position on these issues. However, in my opinion, I think we have to be realistic about it. We have to be realistic to understand that despite everything we try to do, we're never, ever, ever going to stop abortion. You can try to do it. You can do your damnedest to stop it. But what you're going to find out is that it's damn near next to impossible, because first of all, the police have their hands full anyway to begin with. How are you going to allocate resources to stop abortion? It's ridiculously easy to do an abortion. Like I said, you do it in a garage. And you properly dispose of it in a sense of putting it in the trash and making sure it's sealed up to where it doesn't smell. The trash man's going to know what's happened? If you properly dispose of it in a trash can, the trash guy's never going to even know what's in there. The only way they'd ever find out is if somebody's stupid enough to put it out there to where it's easily visible, you know. This is going to happen, folks. Trust me on this. This is going to happen. And there are people go, "Oh, John, you don't understand. It's the principle of it." Yeah, you know what? You know, if I were in charge, what I would do, I would legalize abortion in every public health clinic in this country, every county, I'd make it freely available. But before a woman has an abortion, she has to see a counselor. Talk about what happened, talk about how she got pregnant, and why are the reasons why she's having this. Just to let her sit down and talk to somebody impartial that has no bearing in all of this. It's like going to a therapist. Your friends are going to have a slanted and skewed opinion of you. If you go to a therapist, they don't care. They care, but they don't. They're not going to. They have no iron in this fire. They're going to tell you what they really think. An honest, objective opinion. A counselor could do a lot of just saying, "Look, here are your options before you have this child. Do you really want to have this abortion? Deep down, do you really want to have this abortion?" And if the woman says no, then okay, here's how you can go about having this child. And let's face it, you know, it's difficult for a guy to know what it's like to be pregnant, obviously. It's impossible, of course. But for old men to legislate this is kind of ridiculous. Instead of legislating it, what we should be doing is basically going, okay, let's legalize it all across. Let's make it no restrictions whatsoever, but let the woman sit down, think about it. Here are your options before abortion. Here's some adoption agencies. You have 24 hours to think about it. Come back tomorrow. If you decide to abort the baby, that's fine. It's your choice. You're not going to save them all. You probably won't save a majority, but you'll save a whole lot more than you would if you simply outlaw it. And that's why I'm pro-choice. That's why I believe in a woman's right to choose, because What about if the woman chooses not to have an abortion? If she has a moment, and women are smart people, trust me. They're not idiots, but they're also human. They make rash decisions, rash judgments, heat of the moment, emotional decisions, like men do. And they're faced with this massive life-changing event, and they're told by many people it's ruining their lives. Having this child is a disaster. But if somebody says it doesn't have to be a disaster, it can be a good thing. You can succeed in life. It may take you longer. It may be harder, but you can still do it. And that's what a lot of these women need to hear. It's just someone saying, we can help you. Now you'll see the occasional in some of these, this woman posted a picture and saying, she just got an abortion, like she's proud of an abortion. That might be 1 in 1,000 women having an abortion, for all we know. It's some idiot who thinks abortion is birth control, but I guarantee you the vast majority of women who go to an abortion clinic are far from that. But unfortunately, the image is there of abortion being something that these women enjoy. They're whores. They go, first of all, you're already prejudging them. Last I checked, there's only one judge. You're not supposed to judge people, allegedly. Doesn't stop people from doing it. Doesn't stop me from doing it. But technically, you're not supposed to judge people. Instead of judging people, you should help them. Instead of making yourself feel good, I'm battling for the righteousness and blah, 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 instead of going, what, this person doesn't know what she's doing. She's not fully aware of all the facts, and she needs to hear the other side calmly, quietly, and with Christian love, not fire and brimstone. Not, if you abort this child, you're going to hell. No, what she needs to hear is, we have a family that can help you. We have people that can help you. If the church spent more time helping people instead of trying to influence legislation, or trying to tell you what to do or what not to do, or trying to make itself look good in the eyes of the public instead of, doing good, you might have less abortion. You might not even need to outlaw abortion, because it'd be so damn rare. Wouldn't it be nice to put abortion clinics out of business for lack of business, and not outlawing them at all, but just simply put, women don't have abortions because they don't need them? You want to know what my plan is? Okay, here's the plan. First of all, equal rights to all women, equal education, equal access to health care, equal access to the same protections. Everything. No glass ceilings, everything. Teach girls they're just as good as boys. They have the same opportunities as boys. They can dream dreams. They can become president. They can become chief justice of the Supreme Court. They can become Speaker of the House. They can do anything they want. They can become an astronaut. They can become a football player if they so desire, and all this. And hell, why the hell not? The equal access to education. You know why smart women tend to be less victimized? Because guess what? They're smart enough to know but they don't have to put up with it. If I had a daughter, I would have her in extracurricular activities. I'd have her in Girl Scouts. I'd have her playing any sport she wanted, or at least try a sport. Do gymnastics if she wanted to. Just get her and encourage her to be creative and explore and read and all this. You know, a lot of parents don't do that. A lot of parents, quite frankly, wonder why their kids are having abortions, because maybe, just maybe, you didn't teach your girl to have self-esteem enough to say no to that guy when the guy said, you either sleep with me or I'm going to not spend time with you. Have the ability to realize they're strong enough to have that child in a bad situation, and instead of compounding the mistake, learning that take a mistake and making it into a positive. But no, we have to fight against the evil abortionist. We have to outlaw it instead of realizing that the abortionist is not evil. I don't think any abortion doctor takes any real pleasure out of performing the procedure or anything like that. My opinion is, keep it legal, keep it safe, and just have it to where the women who have the abortions or who want to go for an abortion have access to some counseling before and after. You're not going to stop them all. I mean, and a lot of and there are a lot of women who've had abortions who've had regrets. The mistake has already been made. As long as they don't repeat the mistake, they've learned. And God can forgive them for that mistake. God can forgive someone who has made a mistake, who has committed a sin. And that's important to remember, is to love them, is to help them, is to embrace them, is to love, is to get to know them, not to judge them, but to love them. That is what's important. That's what a lot of these pro-lifers need to understand, is that it's not about the baby, it's about the mother. It's about embracing the mother and saying, you don't have to do this. We can help you. We can get you resources. We can get you advice. We can get you what you need, transportation, necessary. Anything. You don't have to have it government funded. There are plenty of churches out there. Take a lot of this money that's spent to legislate against abortion and put it into parenting classes and churches and crisis pregnancy centers and all this, and do that. But what are we getting? We got Jay Sekulow with his court case about defending the rights of employers who don't believe in abortion-inducing drugs, and having their insurance. Instead of worrying about that, lobby to have my plan approved, so that maybe there won't be a need for these abortion-inducing drugs. They'll still be available, but there won't be a need for them, or they need to be minimalized. You want good sex education? Here's your best sex education. Tell all the kids exactly everything, but teach them to critically think. Think before they leap. Because the craziest thing is, do you honestly believe abstinence only sex education works? Of course not. The information's out there. This is the information age. The kids know more about sex going into sex education class than the teachers do. Hell, I knew that. This is back in 1985. when I took a sex ed class. That's 30 years, damn near 30 years ago. I was in the 8th grade, we took a sex ed class. And we all knew about it. We all knew that the penis went into the vagina, and the semen went in and impregnated the egg, and there you go, you got a baby. And that there's these things called condoms. We knew all that before you even went in there. Do you honestly think the kids don't know about it already, except for the very sheltered ones in the very Christian homes and such, that as soon as they get out into the world, God bless them, they're going to be inundated. There's this thing called preacher's daughter syndrome. There's a reason for that. You can't shelter your kids completely. What you have to do is teach them to learn to adapt to it and still be a God-fearing Christian with the morals and ethics and all this that you instill upon them, but still be able to go out in this world, to learn to not to avoid temptation, but to resist temptation. Instead, we feel like, well, we have to shelter these kids. We have to You know what happens when you shelter people from germs and completely shut them off? As soon as they're exposed, boom, they get sick. They don't have a resistance built up. It's like someone who's never been around hearing a curse word all their life. As soon as they're 18, 19 years old, they go out the world by themselves, and they start hearing people use curse words. At the beginning, they go, they kind of object to it, and as soon as they realize how cool it is, or the perception of being cool, they're cursing like a sailor. The greatest thing my mom ever did was not put me in religious school. She wanted to put me in Seventh-day Adventist school. The best thing she ever did was not to do that, because it taught me that how to adapt and still be a very moral person in a very immoral world. To resist the temptations of drugs and alcohol and sex and other things. And gambling and all this. When you protect yourself and wrap yourself around and not allow yourself to realize that there are bad things that go on in this world, and I have to protect myself. Of course, you're going to protect yourself, but as long as you learn the perception, you don't have to fear them. So, in conclusion, the reason I am pro-choice is because I know what will happen if pro-lifers win out. Abortions will become a lot easier to get. They'll be illegal, but they'll be easier to get. And it'll be very difficult to stop them. The police are already inundated as it is, and you know damn well there's going to be some places where a police chief or some cops who are on the take, they're human, let's face it, cops are human. Most cops are good, some cops are good, most cops are good to indifferent, but you've got some bad cops who'll go, hey, we got this illegal abortion clinic, but they're slipping me some money, so I'm going to pretend not to look and make sure my other brothers in blue don't look. You know what's happening. You know what's going to happen. And if these hardcore laws, the Christian right get their way with these laws, it's going to become much more available. And that's the sad truth. That is the honest, sad truth. That is what I fear, ladies and gentlemen. Folks, it's been great to talk about this tonight. We'll have another Spreaker cast here soon. And we got the Blog Talk radio show coming up later on tonight. We'll talk about the NCAA tournament, finally. Guys, it's been great. Have a great weekend, and God bless you all. And good night, good luck, and may the good news be yours.